Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Is it too loud or?
No.
It's okay. Okay. My name is Andrew Gerthed, and I am the Director of Technology for Santa Clara University. And this is Sid Maestri. He is our webmaster. And together, Sid and I should move forward one, are going to make a presentation this afternoon about an electronic seating chart / class email system that we've developed. Actually, Sid has developed for Santa Clara, and I think is an excellent system and been very well received by the faculty there. And that is what we're going to show to you. But before I begin, I want to just take a couple of minutes to ask, how many of you know Michael Germano, the Lexus rep for the West Coast? Just Prano here. Okay. For all of you who have never met Michael, he's a very dynamic person. And I really like him because he has the ability to see things in a different way. And it really doesn't matter what it is. He always looks at it just from a slightly different angle than the majority of us. And he was here yesterday, and I ran into him and mentioned that I was going to be making a presentation today. And he said, "Oh, great, what's the presentation about?" And I said that it was about an electronic seating chart that we had developed at Santa Clara. And right away, he had this just absolute and complete look of horror on his face. And it really threw me because I did not think that electronic seating charts could generate that much emotion at all. And he went on, and with just absolute disgust in his voice, he asked me, "What does it do?" And before I could even respond, he asked further, "Does it take an electronic imprint of the student's butt when they sit down?" And I was really kind of thrown back by that and got me thinking. But I have to tell you, for all of you out there who see the world like Michael Germano does, this system does not do that. But Sid and I may be back next year with version 2.0. But let me begin. I'm going to just give a little bit of background, first about Santa Clara University itself, and then more background actually about the old system that was in place, why we needed a new system, and kind of the process of how we got there and Sid developed it for us. How many are familiar with Santa Clara University? Just a couple. Okay. Santa Clara University is a small Jesuit university located in Santa Clara, California, which is about 25 miles south of Stanford University. And unfortunately, because of that geography, we sit in the so-called rain shadow of Stanford University. I like to tell people that all the money rains up there, and we're pretty parched dry down in Santa Clara, it seems, at times. But the one claim to fame for Santa Clara University is that it's the oldest university west of the Mississippi, and it was founded in 1851. The law school itself has approximately 1,000 students, and that includes our evening and our part-time students. And we have approximately 40 full-time tenure-track faculty members on staff, and an additional 50 or so adjuncts. And then at any given week during the semester, we have approximately 75 to 80 classes that are meeting. So the place is probably not unlike many of the law schools that you guys work for, a very busy place, and there's a lot of activity. And let me just take a quick survey. How many of you out there are aware of faculty members at your institutions, or actually are faculty members who use an assigned seating system in your classrooms? Okay, so there's quite a number. All right. Santa Clara is no exception. We have a large number of faculty members who use a seating chart. And that's the very first thing they do when the semester begins, is go through with each and every student and assign them a seat. Or, more realistically, wherever the student sits down is where he or she is for the rest of the semester, whether he likes it or not. Of course, because of that, it necessitates the need for a seating chart. And the old way of creating a seating chart at Santa Clara was to take this, which is the student directory for the law school, and the faculty member would go through and find each student in their class, the photo of it, and then take scissors and cut it out and either tape or Elmer glue it down onto a blank piece of paper in position as to where that student sits in the classroom. Needless to say, that is not the best, at least in this age, the best way of doing that in the electronic age. For a number of reasons. One, it's very time-consuming for the faculty or the faculty support person. The second reason is that it, when you have a lot of students who add and drop through the course, especially in the first several weeks. And so what ends up happening, and I've seen several faculty members who have done this, by the end of the semester, if you have a blank piece of paper, actually, as an aside, I should. This is completely unrelated, but and this came up in one of the other classes or seminars this afternoon. I was teaching not too long ago and went up and wrote away, and I was thinking, boy, that thing really writes great, and was writing, and then went to erase, and it was permanently on there. One of the students, I think in the class, had slipped it in, and boy, they thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. It even ended up in my final evaluation. So, but anyway, if this was the sheet of paper, the faculty would paste these little pictures around where students sat. And of course, if a student added and they had to wedge one in here, they would, or if another came and sat there, and you'd have this. And then, of course, if students dropped, they'd have to rip this one off or that one off, and so you'd have this completely tattered piece of paper with all these things wedged in one corner, and then rip paper throughout the rest of the paper. Faculty also complained that the Santa Clara University group-wise email system, that's the system we use, was not an easy system to use if you wanted to email just the students in your class. The only way to really do that was for the faculty member, or more realistically, the faculty support person, to go through at the beginning of the semester and collect all the email addresses of all the students and then go through and type them into a list in the faculty member's address book. Again, very time-consuming, labor-intensive, and then there's a problem if students add or drop or whatever. You're constantly going in and modifying it. So when I became Director of Technology in 2001, I had several faculty members complain to me about this old system, that there had to be a better way of doing it. And of course, being brand new to the position, I immediately agreed with them and said, yes, there's got to be an easier way. I've gotten better at hesitating now at that. But at the time, I said, yes, let me do some research, find out what there is. So the very first thing I did was go on to Technoids and send out an email to all of the different law schools and find out what's out there, because I figured you guys have obviously addressed this, and there had to be some systems out there. At least back in 2001, I was surprised that the majority of people responding indicated that they needed a system, but they did not actually have one in place. So that it was pretty much ad hoc, like Santa Clara's. The few that did respond back that said they had a system, almost all of them were unanimously in agreement in saying, do not do it our way. The best example I remember, and now it's been several years, it was a law school out east that responded back that what they did to make this electronic was that they hired a high school student at the beginning of each semester, who actually, I think it was some professor's son, would come in, and he would go into the software program that had all the images, the digital images of the students, and he would cut those out and then paste them in Microsoft Word onto the individual sheets, and then print those out and give those to faculty. When I talked to him about that, because it actually seemed the cheapest and the easiest for me at the time, that person, when I talked to him at that school, indicated, don't do that. That's a disaster. So I then took some time and looked at the commercial equivalents. And now what I'm saying about the commercial equivalents is true as of 2001. It may not be true now. So if you're thinking of implementing such a system and you want to use a commercial version, or if, I guess what I'm trying to say is take the time to research your commercial versions. However, in at least 2001, there was some major problems with them. The biggest was that obviously they were designed for high school and elementary settings, which makes sense because that's where students are assigned seats. Upper education, at least in the undergrad and graduate schools, other than law school, it seems, they don't assign seats, so there's no reason to have them. Because of that, these systems were not designed to be able to make a seating chart for approximately a room of this size of 80 or 100 people or even 50 people. The other problem was the actual layout templates for the classrooms. If this was a classroom, was just like your high school classroom, your elementary classroom, and a door over here, and the blackboard up there, and windows down the side, and it was a square or a rectangle. There was no ability to use those templates to create a seating system such as this in here with an amphitheater type of arrangement. So, and the last problem was they were expensive. So you spend all that money, and in the end, you get less than an ideal solution. Now, again, that was at least in 2000, 2001. I was fortunately saved because in my research, I discovered that the Santa Clara University Business School had developed their own system and had it in place, fully functional at the time. And so I went over and talked to the business professor who had designed it and was maintaining it. And their system was actually very rudimentary, but it was really pretty straightforward and simple, and that's why we ended up going with it. What their system did was it did not actually go through electronically and place the students into geographic location. It simply electronically put the pictures alphabetical, like that, just for the class. Okay, it eliminated all the other students who are in the book who are not taking the class. And then underneath each picture was a little radio button that if you clicked it, or if you clicked the all button up at the top, and then you hit continue, you went into an email system and you could email all the students. So it wasn't the ideal, but it was certainly a lot better than what we had in place. So I convinced the professor to allow us to piggyback onto their system, and he developed a module for the law school. We put it in place in 2002, 2003, and the law faculty absolutely loved the system, and I got a ton of rave reviews about it. I even had one professor who was an absolute Luddite tell me, she said, "Andrew, this is the very first positive thing you have done technologically for this school." So finally, something that professors can use. But the one thing that professor did not see, and what all the professors didn't see, was there was a couple of major problems with the system. One was I had to coordinate the data from the law records office with the law admissions office, with the university admissions office, with the university access ID card office, and then I also had to involve IT, the main campus IT, as well as the PeopleSoft people. And so getting all that data in the format that the professor wanted was not the best. And then, of course, the professor was on his own schedule, as all professors seem to be. And well, actually, to his justifiably so, they're on a quarter system, and we're on a semester system. So he was not happy coming in August to generate this whole system up for us. The other hidden problem with it, which actually ended up being its fatal flaw, was if you were a savvy law faculty person, a law professor, if you went into your system and you pulled up the page with the pictures, and then if you flipped over and looked at the HTML coding, the JPEGs of the images were identified by student ID. So therefore, if you took a little bit of time, you could figure out exactly what the ID for every student, the student ID for every student in your class was. Which was a huge problem because that violated the law school's blind grading policy. All the grades there is by IDs. As soon as the upper administration found out about that, we had to shut it down, which was about 5 to 6 months into getting it up and running. And needless to say, the professors were very upset that it went down. Fortunately for me, I was saved again because at this point, Sid Maestri had come on board as our webmaster, and he had the knowledge and the expertise to build a custom solution. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sid now to run through a PowerPoint to describe the custom solution.
Hi, everyone. Okay. Real quick background. I was brought on board to Santa Clara University to build a content management system in-house. And I went ahead and did that using Cold Fusion and Microsoft SQL Server running on Windows 2000. And the content management system that I built has a secure login for all the users through a browser. And it creates and manages the content on the website, mostly pages, but also including faculty biographies and class information. And with that information in our database, our records department is able to create class schedules. This is an example of our fall 2004 schedule. And it stores all kinds of information about the class, like the class number, the name, the instructors, units, room, all that good information for the students to view online. And this has been very successful. The records office is very happy with it. And you can click to see the course description. And you can also find out more about the faculty that are teaching that course this semester. So we had those two components in place, and Andrew came to me and said, we need to get this seating chart up. And I said, okay, we've got the class table in the database, we got the faculty, and we're missing this student component. So how are we going to go about and get that student information into our database? Because it's out there somewhere. These class schedules are being generated, so where are they located? And the other thing we need to determine is what information do we need to extract once we find that student information, and in what format can we then bring it into our database. So for Santa Clara, our unique solution was that the information was stored in PeopleSoft in our records department, and the key information we decided to export was the student's first name, last name, email, and that student access ID number that Andrew mentioned earlier. The format we chose was a comma-separated value file. And the second problem we had was the student access ID numbers, which were, as Andrew mentioned, the JPEGs. In this example, if Andrew's access ID number is that, then that's going to be the name of his JPEG. And with the blind grading system, we had to somehow rename all these images. So during the import process of the students, we decided to rename the files with a unique name. And we do that because we do that by getting a new unique identifying number generated from the database when we import a new student. So we're ready to import. We've got those student images are uploaded to our server. We've got our comma-separated value file uploaded to the server. And as most web developers know, you can go out on the web and you can go to developer websites and different forums and find useful tags. Well, I found one that works with Cold Fusion called CSV to data, and you use that to read in the information and convert it into an HTML form for import. And right now I'm going to do a demonstration of how we do that. So this is our custom solution staging server that I'm going to do our demo on today. Right here I've got a link for our import window. If you click that, it takes us up here. I've got a CSV file that has two records in it. One is for myself and one's for Andrew. And we are going to be imported as students. The two different kinds of imports that we do are class schedule information and students. So at the beginning of every year, which means in about 6 weeks, I'm going to be starting to get these exports from PeopleSoft of students, as well as getting the photos from the Access office and starting to import these students. And once we do that, we just hit the create button, and it takes that data and puts it into an HTML form for us. Originally, the tag was designed to just import the data straight into a database. But I wanted to have an interim step where I could actually look at the data and make sure there weren't any missing email addresses, or make sure that just the data was correct. Because one of the biggest challenges is getting accurate and complete data from the records office, and make sure I have all the information I need so that the student, so the class's photo rosters are accurate. And if I hit the import button, it says that we've imported our 2 student records, and we've created 2 pictures. I also track if there are any missing pictures. So if there are any missing pictures, it creates a blank, not a blank JPEG, but one that says that the photo is not available, so that the faculty sees that their name is still in the class, but there isn't a photo available at this time. We can also go over and take a look at the student information, and we can do a search and find Andrew and see if he's actually been imported. Here's Andrew down here at the bottom. And clicking the pencil takes us into an edit screen, and we can see that Andrew's name and email and all that information has been successfully imported. Okay, so now we've got to make that connection. We've got this faculty information, we've got the class information, and we've now got the student information all imported. We're going to do that by basically creating an additional table that connects students to their classes, because you're going to have one student, but they're going to be enrolled in maybe 3 or 4 classes. Again, we go back to the records office, and we get an export from PeopleSoft, and we get the class name, the number, the student name, and the Access ID number. And the 2 real key pieces of information here are the class number and the student's Access ID, because that's how we're going to make that relationship. During the import process, it goes to the database, it finds that class number and gets the class ID. It goes to the Access ID number, and it pulls out that new student ID number, and then it puts those 2 values into the database to make that connection. So again, we upload the files to the database, and we use the CSV to data tag to create an HTML form for import. And I'm going to do an example where we're going to now add Andrew and myself to a criminal litigation class. So I go to the import screen, and I choose add Sid and Andrew to the class schedule. I choose a class schedule type, create an import, and here we see that it's the class number, my name, the title, and the student ID. The reason I import the student's name and the class title again is so if there's any errors get thrown, if the student isn't in the database for some reason, or if the class number isn't in the database, it lets me know, and then I can follow up with the records office and find out what is the class number for criminal litigation, because it didn't import correctly. And we also have to specify the fall term, fall 2004, because the same class number might be used in multiple terms. And we don't want to import everybody into the same class in the same term. And now it's going to do its little thinking for a minute. And 2 successfully imported records. I was afraid I was going to pull a Microsoft there for a second. And we can go to the class seating chart there, and Advanced Criminal Litigation Seminar. We open it up, and we see we've got the 2 students who are enrolled. And this basically takes us back to the original alphabetical student photo roster that we had in place with the business school. And some of the faculty, this is all they need. We added this print page button. They click it, they print it out, and some of them don't go any further than this, and they're happy with just having this feature. Go back here. There we go. One of the issues that came up in creating a custom solution was how do you handle the add drop? Because you've got students for about a week or 2 are adding classes, dropping classes, and you're importing data into the database. The solution I used was I asked for a complete class schedule every time. So if students have been added or students have been dropped, I do a search through the database as they're being imported, and if the record isn't found for that student enrolled in that class, we create a new record. And if at the end that student isn't found, then we drop them from the database table, and they get dropped from the class automatically. So that handles the solution of ripping off students' pictures, because it's all going to be handled automatically for the faculty. And real quick, an example of importing and dropping Andrew from the class schedule. Since the complete class schedule is going to be just myself on the import, we get just 1 person enrolled in the class, and on the import it'll say should say Andrew's, or 1 student's been dropped. And it says students dropped from classes is 1. Go back. And the last thing we had to do was we had to go and create user accounts for all the faculty. So in creating the custom solution, we had to create the accounts for the faculty. We had to give them permission to go in and view the seating charts. We restricted them to only the classes that they teach. And now whenever a new faculty is added to the content management system, a new user account is created for them automatically. Previously, the only people using the content management system were staff like myself, or the records office and other departments. And the basic workflow for faculty is they log in, they go to the home page, they see a list of all their classes, and then they can select an individual class, and they can view the photo roster, the photo email, a log of the emails they've sent, and the seating chart. So let's take a look at a complete class and look at the features of the seating chart. So I'm going to choose contracts. I actually signed myself up as the faculty so I could log in and pull up this class. This is a complete photo roster. I guess this would be a typical like first year class, a larger class. And you can print this page. Going to email class, again, I took a cue from the previous system where the faculty can see a picture of the student as well as their name and select a checkbox to email an individual student, or they can select all of their students by clicking the checkbox. Another feature we wanted to have was an ability for the faculty to go and just grab every student email address. So I added this link, and using JavaScript, when you click it, it opens up a new window and gives a comma-separated list of all the students' email addresses, and the faculty can highlight this and do a copy and paste it into GroupWise or Outlook we use GroupWise, but I suppose they could use any email client to email their entire class. And that way, we aren't forcing them to use our web-based email system. Sometimes faculty support will go in and send out an email for the faculty, so we wanted to allow them to choose, well, which faculty is this email message coming from. They can modify the name, email, subject, and even send a copy to themselves. The email log is a way for the faculty to go in and search previous emails that they've sent. And clicking the link, you can open up and view what they sent, obviously during the testing period. And you can search by student name, by the content of the body or the subject of the message, or by the date it was sent. The seating chart, I've got a couple sample seating charts here. We have 4 large classrooms, and that's where the seating charts or assigned seating takes place. The smaller classrooms are more free-form, and so we didn't design any seating charts for our smaller classrooms. To create a new seating chart, you click the Create New Seating Chart button. It opens up, and this is all done with HTML and JavaScript. And pretty straightforward. The faculty come in, they select a seat, they click on an image, it pops open a window, and we can select Sharon and place her into a seat. If the next session Sharon decides that, I really want my seat to be over here, and I swear I won't move again, you can move Sharon. It says, gives you a little warning and says she's already on the seating chart. Do you want to move her? It says, okay. Now she's moved over there. And Sharon decides that she's going to drop the class, so you can always click on her name and clear her from the seating chart. Another thing you might notice is that this is actually a form. So if the student has a nickname or some other name they'd like to go by, the faculty have the ability to go, and he wants to go by Pat, so we'll just rename him Pat, and you give your seating chart some sort of name. It could be just sample, and you save your seating chart. And the faculty can then go and view it online. And that's pretty much creating a new seating chart. To see a complete one filled out, I'll open up this window here. And because this is done done with HTML and it's done in a browser, one of the hurdles we encountered was printing. We're dealing with these large classrooms that, if the paper was that big, we'd be in business. But for some reason, the browsers would always, when you print from the browser, it was always cutting the page in half, and it was only printing half the room. So for our solution, we decided to generate a PDF of the seating chart for the faculty. And we are using a server-based software called Active PDF. And it actually goes and grabs that page view, creates a PDF for the faculty, and then they can print it out on, I guess, whatever size format paper. Trying to address the issue, we definitely encountered the whole problem of monitor resolution, different printers that faculty are using, different printer drivers, and using the PDF was sort of our way of leveling the playing field and saying, okay, we just go with this format and everyone should be able to use it. And we haven't gotten any negative feedback about it. The support staff have been heavy users of it for the faculty. They actually create a lot of the seating charts for the faculty, and they've been very happy with it. And here's the final product. You can print it, you can save it to your hard drive, you can zoom in on it, and that is end product there. Let me go to the next slide. Future development. So here we are. We've got a straightforward seating chart, but we're thinking about what can we do more? How can this be a more useful tool for the faculty? And we're in the process of exploring using Flash as a front end to allow the faculty to create the seating charts and have the actual rooms more accurately reflect the way the rooms look. That was one piece of feedback we got from the faculty. And then we also want to go and talk to the faculty and find out if we build this and add interactivity, what sort of features do you want? Do you want to be able to take attendance? Do you want to be able to score students' participation? Those are things I've heard, but we feel we need to go out and actually talk to the faculty and get some feedback from them about what they want, because something we've learned at Santa Clara is finding out what they want and building to it. You get a much better response than just building it, throwing it up there, and waiting for them to come around and use it, because the user-driven developments usually go the best. And that's it, and we can have some questions if anybody has anything. Yes? Oh, it's that's not something I've explored, but that's not a bad idea. I'd have to look into that. It's using JavaScript to create that window, so I don't know if you could execute a file for that because of security reasons. That's why we're looking into the Flash interface, is so that drag and drop would be easier. Right now, it just opens up another window that has the photos in it. Sure, but they might move around a little bit, and being able to do it on the fly, yeah, that's definitely something we would want to implement with the Flash version. Correct. Yeah, I'm not sure, since we're focused with Novell and the group wise. I haven't thought about that. Any other questions or comments? Yeah. I create the layouts for the rooms using an array of values. So what it's doing is it's cycling through a table, and it has a start point and an end point for each of the segments. So some of the classes have 16 seats in a row or 5 seats in a row, and because it's using HTML table, it's generating it that way. With a Flash version, obviously that would be done with just templates using just graphic elements, and you wouldn't have to generate it on the fly. Sure. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll start with the cost. I'm not sure what the total licensing is. If you throw in, for a SQL Server, I'm guessing Cold Fusion is around $1,000, I think. SQL Server is close to that price range, maybe a little bit less. I'm not sure of the current pricing. But we were working with an existing content management system that already had that software, so there was no additional cost for this one. As far as the development time, I would say it was For me, 3 or 4 weeks, but that was spread out over a couple months because I was, regular other duties I was taking care of. And one of the biggest hurdles was the PDF issue, was the printing issue. I spent a lot of time looking around for solutions and trying to find a way to generate those PDFs on the server. So the actual creating of the JavaScript and getting the import to work, that went pretty quickly for me. On the daily maintenance. The records office can create faculty bios, and that automatically creates the faculty accounts. I work with the records office to send me the images, so that doesn't take too much time. During the add drop period, I maybe spend a half hour in the morning doing an initial upload of the new class schedule, and again, maybe an hour getting those students imported because some of them are missing photos and I have to follow up and get the photos. So,
but it gets quieter as it gets more settled in the semester.
Yeah, once the add drop period's over, I'm pretty much done with the seating chart. I don't have to come back to it until the next registration period. Yes. Oh.
First of all, I just want to compliment you. One thing I'm curious about is on the active PDF.
Yes.
That you use it.
Sure.
I think that's very.
Yeah, correct. It's basically grabbing the HTML page and converting it to a PDF on the fly and then returning it to the browser window. So it's just like a screen capture of a web page into a PDF.
Yeah, who makes that?
Oh, I'm sure if you just searched active PDF, all one word, and you search for that in Google, I don't remember the name of the company. I think that's Active PDF is the name of the product, I believe.
I have to say, the one thing, when we initially were testing it, faculty got back to us right away and said they wanted to print these off. And that's largely because they were used to paper. I have found out, talking to several faculty members since, that what they have progressed towards now is we have tablet PCs built into our podiums, and so when they come in, they just pull up the seating chart right there. And what they like to do actually is then use the tablet PC portion of it to be able to X out the students who are not there. So it's actually an attendance system now for them. So they're less and less using paper. But it's still with the active PDF. That was a big issue right away. They got back to us and said it has to print properly.
Yes. Because this is just importing a comma-separated value file, you could get that information from any database. And in my solution, I'm only importing 4 bits of information. You could import as much student information as you wanted.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.